So, Kath, I'm really excited to chat to you today about your amazing page, Beyond Grief, and your walks. Yeah, it'd be great if you could start by just telling me a bit about why you set up your page, the meaning behind the name as well, because I think, Beyond Grief, that's quite meaningful, and the walks that you arrange as well.
Thank you for having me. So I set up Beyond Grief, I think it was about 8 months ago now. It was about 4 months or so after my dad had passed away. Um, so prior to my dad passing away, I lost my mum to breast cancer in September 2022, and I had attended like quite a lot of like typical talking therapy after my mum died. Um, and I did find it useful, but it just wasn't exactly what I needed. I think the relief I would feel was really short-lived afterwards. I used it as a bit more of an outlet, I suppose, for like my thoughts and feelings. But then after a couple of weeks, I'd sort of still feel that, that heaviness that comes with grief and just think, there's just something else that I need, and I just didn't know what it was. Um, and then I started seeing there's a good lady I follow on Instagram called Just Grieve with Misha, and I saw her page and all the lovely things she was doing, but she's obviously based in England somewhere. And I thought, that's so lovely. Like, I would love to have like a little community. And I just thought one day, like, why not? Like, I can't be the only person in, my area that has experienced grief, is looking for something else. So yeah, one day I just thought, why not? And set up the page. And yeah, it's been really nice. It's like a nice little outlet for me. It provides me with a space to talk about, my mum and my dad, and all of the awful but wonderful things that can come from grief, and give that space to somebody else as well. Um, and yeah, I thought of the name Beyond Grief just because, as you know, grief is something that stays with us forever. And I think initially it's something that you think you're going to move past, maybe, and you're just going to leave it behind. But, we know that that's not true, and it's something that we've got to move with. So the Beyond Grief sort of comes from not being stuck, but picking it up and carrying it with you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think as well, like, yeah, when I first lost my mum, obviously I, did therapy and went to some group sessions as well, and I felt exactly the same as you. Like, I don't know if you agree with this, but is there something quite unique about maybe losing someone? It doesn't even have to be a parent, but maybe at the age we're at as well, and the stage of life. I
Yeah.
mean, all grief is, grief at the end of the day. But yeah, for us, just kind of in our like 20s, early 30s.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that. And I think like at the beginning, I felt quite guilty in saying that because, like you say, like you're saying, the grief isn't any more
Yeah.
than anybody else's, but it is just so different. Like the support group I was going to, I was 26 at the time, and I was the youngest person there by like 20 years minimum, I'd
Wow.
say. And I'd sort of be sitting there, and I'll be completely open. I was jealous of some of
Yeah.
the people there because we'd all be sharing our stories and our experiences, and there'd be some people who had lost, like a parent, for example, who were maybe in their 80s,
Mm,
which is still, and I'm again like not saying that that's not awful. You
mm.
never want to lose people, but I'd sort of be sitting there thinking, I'm so jealous.
I know, I
My
know.
mum was 60 when she died, which is
Mm,
so, so young,
mm.
and I'd be coming away from there and feeling really awful that I was guilty
Yeah.
of these people who had lost their parents when they were 80 plus. Yeah, I just felt as if it was just so different. I couldn't like connect with them in that way.
Yeah.
There was the grief we had in common, but I don't know what the other word is for it. Like obviously we had the grief in common, but there was just something that was really making it
Mm.
difficult for me to relate to them fully.
Yeah, no, I 100% empathize with that. And so on your walks, I mean, I assume they're open to anyone and everyone of all
Yeah.
ages, but what is it about? Yeah, like I think you said to me before, you don't just go there and all just talk about, who you've lost. It's not sad. Like you talk about kind of the everyday things as well. So yeah, what kind of comfort have you taken from that?
Do you know, it's just lovely to meet other people in the like local area who are, experiencing loss as well. The community that I live in is really small, which initially made me quite nervous to set up Beyond Grief because, everybody knows each other or knows of each other. And, it is, if you're going to put yourself out there, you've got to really do it and you've got to be open and you've got to be vulnerable. But I think that's what I enjoy most about the walks now. And you bond with people, not just over your grief, just about everyday
Mm.
stuff as well. Like there are other mums who come on the group, so we chat about that. And again, it's not the just the parenting without a parent side of it. Just oh my gosh, my little one's been awful today, or they did something really funny. Just talking about work, friendships,
Mm.
difficulties they're having in other areas of their life.
Mm.
Um, Clothes, where they've got the shoes that they're wearing, like restaurants that they've gone to, ideas for the group as well. Like we talked about like sip and paints, maybe doing like go ape as like a little
Love
icebreaker.
that.
It's just it's a really relaxed environment. And I do get a few people messaging me who are feeling like too nervous to come. Um and I try explaining that it's really not like a pressured
Yeah.
environment. But until you come, you don't know that.
Yeah.
I upload like pictures and stuff, but it's quite hard to
Mm.
portray the like how informal it actually is unless you come along. But it's been really lovely.
Yeah. Oh, I absolutely love that. Um, Tell me about your mum and dad and the relationship you shared with them. It's funny when you just mentioned about you talk about clothes, it just reminded me what you told me about your mum and how you both loved kind of
Mm.
like shopping and you'd always end up wearing the same thing. So yeah, tell
Yeah.
me about that.
Um, yeah, my mum was and still is my absolute best friend. She was, yeah, the most caring, selfless person I think I've ever known and will ever know. I've always said if I can just be half, the woman that she was, I'll know I've done something really right. Yeah, my parents split up when I was really little. I was a baby. I don't remember them being, together. Um, so it was always me, my mum, and my brother in the house. Um, and my dad, I know he would never mind me saying, but my mum pretty much, brought me
Mm.
and my brother up. My dad, I saw him all the time and stuff. They were very, very different people,
Mhm.
and he'd always laugh and say he would have had a very different upbringing with me. Um, but yeah, we never went without. My mum did absolutely everything for us. We really were like her her whole world. Um, Obviously, like any mother and daughter, we went through a bit of a rough patch growing up where, we would bicker and argue all the time. But then as I got to maybe about 16, 17, I'd say, our relationship just, flourished really. And that's when the best friend relationship really, really took off.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talk about absolutely anything. Some of the girls now, like if I say that I would have told like a certain story that I won't repeat on here to my mum, they'd be like, "You talk to your mum about that?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, like she's one of the girls, like she
Oh, I
doesn't
love
care."
that.
And she'd always be like, "Catherine, I don't want to know that." And then she'd be, "Oh, but what else? Tell me something
Yeah.
else." Um, if like we had drinks like in my house before we'd go out, like my mum would come and sit with a glass of wine,
Oh,
like
yeah.
chat with the girls. Um, yeah, she was just absolutely amazing, amazing lady. Even when she was really unwell, she would look after, other people.
Yeah.
Never once did I hear her say, like, why me,
Yeah.
or let her diagnosis sort of make her angry and bitter at all. She just really, continued to live her life, the way she wanted to. And yeah, she was, yeah, just amazing,
Mm.
amazing. Um, and my dad, was absolutely brilliant as well, very different to my mum. My mum was strict, but it was more of a disappointed strict.
Mm.
She'd be I'm just disappointed and really tug on the heartstrings.
That's
Whereas,
worse.
yeah, whereas if because I was quite naughty growing up, so if I had done something, my mum would be like, "Your father's coming up." I'd be like, "No, that's the worst thing she could say to me." Um, but yeah, I was a proper daddy's girl growing up. I'm the youngest, so yeah, the girls again laugh and say I had him wrapped around my little finger. He would always be, "Daddy, can I
Oh.
have this? Can I have that?" Um, and yeah, as I got older, I'd say we were very similar but very, very different as
Mm.
well. I've definitely inherited my dad's patience. I've got
Oh.
none of that, none of it. Um, and we really enjoyed we talk about food quite a lot. He loved
Mm.
cooking, and I'm vegetarian, so my dad would always be telling me about recipes he's seen or
Oh,
recipes that
wow.
he's cooked. We loved wine, so again just talking about that type of stuff, talking about life as well. He was actually very good at not the so much, not to be sexist, not the sides of life getting married and having
Yeah.
children, the others, the practicalities of
Yeah.
life. He was
Yeah.
really, really good at chatting to about work and traveling
Mm.
and wanting to live life and
Mm.
being, I don't know, conflicted with what routes to go down. He was, really supportive in those areas. But then we bicker loads as well because yeah, I was more like my mum
Yeah,
in
yeah,
in ways
I can
than
so
he
relate
did.
to this. Yeah.
Uh, but he'd always say to me, "You sounded just like your
Yeah.
mother then," or "Your mum used to look at me like that." And I'd be like, "Well,
Oh, oh,
yeah,
Kath, they sound amazing. So funny. I feel like our mums are definitely up there having a glass of wine together because
oh
yeah,
yeah,
they sound very similar. Like she turned up to uni, well, around Valentine's Day actually one year with loads of strawberry themed shots for us, like pink shots
oh
for Valentine's Day. And yeah, still to this day, obviously my friends, they absolutely adored her, and I'm sure it's the same with
yeah,
yours. They were one of the girls, weren't they? But yeah, and your dad as well. Similar situation, like my parents split up and yeah, very much like them both in different ways.
yeah,
But obviously, they were such an important part of your life. Losing your mum and then losing your dad. I mean, I can't even begin to think what that must have been like for you going through that trauma again. What, how did you kind of navigate that? And obviously, it was only about a year ago now, wasn't it, with your dad? So yeah, tell me a bit about that.
yeah. So it's been just over a year now since my dad died. He died in January of last year. Um, and yeah, it's quite a weird experience to be honest, because both my parents had cancer.
Mm.
So my dad actually had cancer before my mum. He was diagnosed with throat cancer and went through treatment, and thankfully the treatment was successful. And yeah, it went away for a little while, and then a couple of months later, my mum was diagnosed with breast cancer, and then it was only so my mum passed in the September 2022, and then I believe it was March, April of 2023. So only a couple of months later, my dad sat us down to tell us that his cancer had come back and that there was nothing, that they could do. And it's a bit, my mum was in the similar situation where, unfortunately, after she'd had the mastectomy, they said that the cancer had already, spread,
Right.
so that she'd be living with her cancer. So she'd take her tablet every day. And then my dad then ended up in the same situation where he was like, they're not going to be able to get rid of it, but they're going to be able to manage it.
Mm.
And you never want to say this out loud, but obviously, at the back of my head, I can only speak for myself, not my sibling, but it does cross your mind where you think, well, but mammy died.
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Um, but he did live with it, for another just over a year.
Mm.
And yeah, I think. because we had lost my mum to cancer as well, when we found out that he was going to die, I felt prepared in a strange way where I thought, right, okay, so this is shit and it's going to be shit the
Mm.
next couple of weeks. These are what professionals are going to contact us. This is what,
Yeah.
certain words mean, certain terminology they use. Like, that's what they mean. This is what my dad's going to need from us.
Mm.
But this time I had my little boy.
Yeah.
Teddy was
Yeah.
6 months old when my dad actually died.
Yeah.
Um, but we found out he was going to die in the December. So my little boy would have been like 4 or 5 months old at this point. So I was on maternity leave, and it was every day like going over to see our dad. We take it in turns. But I had a baby with me this time. Whereas last time, when it was my mum, I moved back into that house. Me
Yeah.
and my brother looked after my mum together. Um, but I couldn't do that for my dad. And
Mm.
there's guilt that comes with that then as well, because you want to be able to, do for one what you did for the other.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't think anything, I wasn't as prepared as I thought it would be, to then actually lose my dad.
Go through it again.
It
Yeah.
felt like losing my mum again.
Yeah.
It's weird. I was speaking about this the other day with my peer coach, and I think I struggle to just grieve like one of them. It's sort of
Mm.
like
Mm.
if something comes up about one, it drags up stuff about the
Cool.
other one. So I
Yeah.
think the death of my dad did it took me back, a couple of years then.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think so. Obviously, having Teddy, like that kind of grieving experience, obviously looked different for you. It
Mm,
sounds like you kind of went into like practical mode, right? This is going to happen. Like, I guess because your brain is also, raising a newborn at the same time. Whereas
yeah,
with your mum, were you quite practical as well, or did you kind of let the emotion? Do you remember? Like, I don't know about you. I really struggle to kind of remember.
yeah. I think to be honest, I've blocked quite a lot of the
Yeah.
like practical things out because um there were times where like I had to be practical. And the same goes for my brother. My brother's very good. My brother's really protective, like always has been of me and my mum. So he was very good at being the practical one,
Mm.
very headstrong, um, able to like he put himself in situations to have those difficult conversations so that I didn't have to. And
Yeah.
then when I was ready to hear, certain bits of information, that's when he'd give them to me. It
Mm.
was only when I moved back in, to my mum's house. And then there may be times where, my brother had popped out for an hour. So yeah, I was the one speaking to like the professionals that would come in. So I was having to have those hard conversations and the practical conversations, and even having them with my mum as
Mm.
well, because it took a while. Obviously, my mum was so unwell. It took her a while to actually understand
Mm.
what was going on.
Mm.
Um, like even around, like for example, her car, and it'd be heartbreaking because it'd be like, oh, well, what about my car? Like, oh,
Yeah.
I'll sell my car because after this, like, I'm not going to be able to drive again, am I? And I'd be sitting there thinking, like, I don't
Mm.
know what to say to you. Like,
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
you aware of like, you
Mm.
know, you're gonna die? Do you know that? And it was those practical sides
Mm.
of things I found really, really difficult because yeah, like you're not gonna use your car
Yeah.
again. You'd say about wanting to go like to a bedroom and stuff like that. It was those practical conversations that were really, really difficult to have.
Yeah. It's so hard. Um, I guess for your mum, maybe that was her way of keeping hopeful and positive, just
Yeah.
envisioning this future, even if she knew
Mm.
deep down. Were you able to have chats with both your mum and dad before they died? Just quite a real chat about what the future would kind of look like. I know you mentioned to me about your dad and your wedding. I
Mm.
know you were kind of thinking, should we like bring it forward? And he was very much like, yeah, just tell me about that. 'Cause didn't you say he was very much like, no, let's just wait and see?
Yeah. So with my dad, he was a bit more, how do I explain it? Like when he told us, that he was going to die, it was as if he was telling us he was going on holiday,
Mm.
which I can laugh at because me and my brother afterwards were just sitting on the sofa and I was like, that was bonkers. Like, did that actually just happen? And he was like, I'm fine with it. Like, I've
Oh.
accepted it. I'm not afraid. Like, I'm just sad that I'm not gonna be here for you guys.
Mm.
Um, which was completely bizarre. So
Mm.
then when it came to having like certain conversations at the start, I think he was, yeah, like open to it. So like you said about my wedding, for example. So this would have been December 2024, and I was getting married in the July of 2025. Um, and yeah, that was one of the first things I thought about when, we had that news. And the next day I went over to my dad's house and I said, What what do I do? Like,
Mm.
what do you want me to do about the wedding? And he sort of brushed it off and said, let's wait and see. Let's give it a couple of weeks. And then, it would have only be about 2 or maybe 3 weeks later when things, were deteriorating, and it was brought up briefly again. It was, no, I don't want you to change anything. I want you to have like, the wedding that you've booked and the wedding that you've planned for.
Mm.
Um, yeah, which was really, really hard.
Mm.
Um, and then with my mum, no, no conversations, which, yeah, I do struggle with because I
Mm.
remember her saying to me, we were in the living room together and I'd always sit on the bed to like chat to her. And she said to me one day, oh, we need to have a chat. There's some things I want to talk to you about. And yeah, we never, sorry, I'm gonna get upset now. We never had that conversation. We got to a point, sadly, where she just got really like confused. But
Mm.
that was something I struggled with for a while afterwards because, I can imagine, what it's like. I'd be thinking, what did you want to say to me?
Yeah, of course you
Like,
just.
what was that conversation? I'd give anything to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Um, and I think I know like what the conversation would be. I can imagine it. I can feel it. But
Mm. Mm.
gosh, you just grasp onto everything, don't you?
Of course
Like
you
that.
do. Of
I
course
what
you
I'd give
do.
to just hear what she had to say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's weird, isn't it? I don't know if it's the same with you, but it's like they one minute they're there and then the next like it all happens quite quickly and you're like you run out of time. And I guess it's that whole kind of saying that goes around like if you want to tell your loved ones something or have that conversation, have it because you don't know
yeah,
if you're not going to be able to. And I absolutely love how, you deep in your heart, kind of what that conversation would have been and you can feel that love. But I completely get it. I didn't have that conversation. Looking back now, oh my God, if I could just have 5 minutes with her, the things I would have
yeah.
asked and like to get that kind of reassurance. But again, you know, and I've spoken about this before, like I- we are them and we know,
Yeah.
deep down. But gosh, tell me about your wedding. I'm gonna try not to cry when it comes to your wedding. So yeah, but also remind me about you falling off the chair because that makes me laugh. So, but yeah, just like for context, I came across a clip on your page before I first chatted to you, and you stood up in front of your wedding party and you did a speech, which is so admirable in itself to do on your wedding day, but to then talk about obviously your lovely mum and dad not being there, the strength you must have had to do that is just incredible. But yeah, obviously tell me about that day and how that was for you.
Um, to be honest with you, the actual wedding day itself was beautiful. It was one of the best days of my life. It, yeah, was obviously apart from my mum and dad not being there, everything that we wanted, the day to be. Um, I think there was probably only one moment where I got really upset and felt like, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm gonna
Mm.
like get to the other side of that. So before you actually get married, but like on the day, the registrar will come and speak to you to make sure that you are who you say you are and that you're not getting married against your will, all of that fun stuff. And I'd been to weddings as a bridesmaid before. I was a bridesmaid in my brother's wedding, so I knew that this was a thing.
Mm.
But it had always happened in like the space where the bride was like getting ready.
Mm.
So I was with all my bridesmaids getting ready, and time was ticking on, and I'm thinking, where is this registrar? Like, where is she or he? And they never came. And then so I went down then into the like place where we were actually getting married, and the registrar's waiting for me.
And you're all ready at this point,
Oh
flowers.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
dressed. I'm holding the flowers. I'm ready. My brother's standing next to me. We're linking arms.
Oh my God, you're
We're
ready
good
to
to
walk
go.
in. Okay.
Yeah, we're literally like all lined up in order, ready to go in. And she confirmed like all these details with me about myself and about Jamie. And then you've got to give like your parents' names, which is cruel in itself. I'd already, because you've go, don't you, to the registrar beforehand to give like notice, and that was horrendous. Like I cried saying both my parents' name. The poor lady was crying behind the
My
desk.
God. Wow.
But then, yeah, and you can see because it literally says on the certificate like deceased. So
Mm.
this woman obviously would have known that my parents weren't here anymore, and it
And
was
yet
that
she
like,
still did it at the door.
yeah, and it was this looking down and going, and your mum's name, and then like looking at me, and honestly, Zara, like I felt as if somebody had just like ripped my voice box like out of my throat. I
Mm.
was just felt as if I couldn't speak, I couldn't breathe. It was as if all of a sudden it became really like real that they weren't there,
Yeah, like you're
which
saying it
sounds
out
like,
loud.
yeah, which sounds silly because obviously they're not there, but it was as if somebody, it was that little reminder.
Yeah.
And I just remember standing there and heavy breathing. Somebody, don't even know who it was, brought me over like water and stuff. And I had to like get like a fan on me to like cool me down because I went like a bit blotchy. And yeah, but I got it out and composed myself before going down the aisle. But that was probably the well, not probably, it was the hardest part
Mm.
of the day for me. But then as soon as they opened the doors, the bridesmaids went down and I saw Jamie, and yeah, my face was just, obviously we've got the wedding video and the pictures, and I just smiled the whole way down then. But yeah, I did think, bitch.
Yeah. Note to any registrars. Can you yeah, just check
Yeah,
and be
if you
mindful?
know there's a dead parent,
Yeah.
then let the makeup artist be there. Give a little bit of a heads.
Honestly, gosh, people.
I know.
Um, did you did you feel your parents in that moment? Or was
Um,
it not supposed I guess I don't know. I feel like in moment when I got engaged, I had this really strange kind of out of body experience where I felt
mm,
like I was kind of above looking down, thinking,
okay.
this is amazing, but like I can't believe this is happening and my mum's not here. Like I don't
Yeah.
know if you maybe when the registrar and you were saying your parents' names out loud and like the kind of concreteness of that,
Mm,
kind of have that strange feeling.
yeah. I think that definitely makes it more real. Like I'm quite good and have been good over the last couple of years at disassociating a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, I'll speak about my mum and dad, and I can do so without getting upset. Quite, I'd say 80% of the time. But I think it's because I speak about them as like an umbrella term, mum
Yeah.
and dad, not specifically my mum, Wendy, my dad,
Mm.
Steve. Like it took me so long, especially with my mum, to actually be able to like say her name
Oh.
and say that she's died as well. Like I just found that so difficult. And when I'd be having therapy, if like the therapist would say to me, "Oh, when your mum died," I'd automatically be like, "What? Like we want to?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
My mum hasn't died. Like what do you?"
Mm.
It would feel really uncomfortable. Um, so moments like that, then yeah, it does. It feels like a little bit of a punch to the face where you're like, "Oh yeah, that's my mum." that's died, and that's my dad
Mm,
that's died. Um, and like wedding dress shopping was
mm,
like that as well. Don't get me wrong, again, like the most lovely, beautiful day. I went with my maid of honour and two of my other bridesmaids. I kept it as like a friend, like only thing. Um, and it was hard. Like when I actually found my dress, it was obviously really, really emotional. And, you know, I had a little cry. And like you were saying about that out of body experience, I think it was just like a moment where I thought, wow, like my mum should be here
yeah,
for this. Like this is a pivotal moment, you
yeah.
know, of my life that my mum and I would talk about quite a lot. And
Mm,
she's not here for it. And I had a little cry, but then, you know, my friends are absolutely brilliant. And, you know, they had a little cry with me as well. And I didn't need to say, oh, I'm crying because my
yeah.
mum's dead.
They,
It was
they,
like,
yeah.
yeah, they just knew. And I remember saying to one of them, I can't remember who, I was like, I think she'd like it. And they were like, yeah, I think so as well.
I love that. I love that so
um,
much.
it's just that unspoken, you know, understanding
Yeah.
we've got, which is really lovely.
Going into obviously pregnancy and having a baby, were there kind of moments again where you were just like you had that realization that your mum wasn't there? Maybe I don't know, at NCT, did you have any moments where I don't know, people were maybe talking about who would be helping in those first few weeks? Or I think you actually told me as well once when you went in to get a scan and there was just like mums and daughters everywhere, and you were just
Yeah,
like, what is going on?
yeah. To be honest with you, it wasn't really something, especially for the first couple of weeks, you know, because you're not really like telling many
Yeah.
people, you're not showing. And I'm I remember when I first found out I was pregnant, I hadn't told any of my friends yet because we got engaged in the August and then I was pregnant by the September and we had an
Bloody
engagement.
hell, Kath.
I know. What can I say? The engagement was
Get
exciting.
straight to it.
And we had our engagement party when I must have been about 4 weeks pregnant. And I remember I was drinking lemonade, but the party had only just started. And my best friend, Sherelle, she was like, "Oh, do you want me to get you a drink?" And I said, "Oh, no, I've got one. Like I'm fine for a sec." And then later on in the evening, she asked me again, and then she was like, she just knew like straight away, and she was staring at me, and she just went, "Are you pregnant?" Like mouthed it to me, and I just like smiled, and then she like got up and went outside because she was like crying.
Oh,
Um, but I remember speaking to her about it afterwards, and I remember saying to her like, I don't really want to get too excited.
mm,
At this point, I was quite used to bad, like just negative bad things happening, that I just thought like I'm not going to allow myself to get
yeah.
too excited about this. And you know, she was a bit like, why, like this is really exciting. So I think the first couple of weeks were probably quite like that, where I was just like a bit afraid to really like allow it to be fully real, um and acknowledge that I was gonna have a baby and do all of this stuff without my mum. It was still a bit of a, you know, it could happen. That could be
Yeah.
what the next couple of months are going to look like. But then, yeah, as you say, when I started going to appointments, because obviously Jamie, my husband, would come to scans with me, but you just have checkups with your midwife that I'd
Mm.
go to, you know, on my own. They're only half an hour. And I remember I'd be sitting in the waiting room and you'd get the odd person that would come in with their mum for like support. And I'd be like, oh, like, how rude. Like, oh, okay.
This is a personal attack.
Yeah, but you do feel like that, don't you? I'd be like, you have brought your mum here to really upset me. Like, you just ruined my appointment. But it would be like that again, that punch in the face
Yeah.
of, oh wow, like your mum's not here
Mm.
to sit with you and to be excited
Yeah.
with you. So that was difficult. And then going into labour was really difficult as well without my mum, because it's just something like, you know, apart from Jamie, if there was anybody else I would have had in the room
Yeah.
with me, it would have been my mum.
Yeah.
So experiencing like labour in a home and going into the hospital and being in the hospital.
Just so scared, like the scared, like being scared of the unknown. You just want that one
Yeah,
person to tell you it's going to be okay.
yeah. And like I'm so lucky with my friends that I have got that and I don't need to ask for it, you
Yeah.
know? Like my other best friend Kelsey, when I was in labour, she was absolutely brilliant.
Mm.
Like she's got me on Find My Friends, so she knew where I was the whole time. She'd be messaging me like, I can see you're in the hospital. Like, let me know if you need me. Oh, I can
Oh.
see you back home. And then
Oh.
she turned up at the house, and this would have been so Teddy was born in the beginning of June, so it was it was quite warm, and
Yeah.
I was pregnant, and I remember being upstairs in bed, like totally undressed, surrounded by dominoes because Jamie was like, "You've got to eat," just in absolute agony. And Kelsey turned up with like a comb for me to hold, and she sat with me while Jamie like went and had a shower and things like that. And then it got to the point where she said to me, she's like, I think you need to ring the hospital again and go in. And I was like, yeah, I think so too. And
Oh.
bless her, like she got me dressed. And I remember like I was crying my eyes out to her. She was on the floor doing up my shoes. And I remember crying to her and I was like, I just want my mum.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
And yeah, and she just looked at me and she said, I know. And it was yeah, it was just what I needed. There's no sort of like
It's no like be strong, like you know.
no,
I
like they
know.
never. I will say, like my friends have never ever said any of this like cliche sort
Yeah,
of stuff
yeah, yeah.
to me. Like they are very, very good at just acknowledging the fact that it's shit and like just saying what I need them to say. Like she was just like, I know, and just did whatever she could to like channel
Yeah.
my mum in that moment. And since having Teddy, um, they've continued to be the same. I've got my other friend Molly who's got two little girls, so she'd already, she's done it twice now.
Mm.
And she's, my mum guru, I call her. She's anything I need.
Mm.
Again, things I would have asked my mum to do. I messaged Molly the day after I came home from hospital to come and check my stitches because I was so anxious. And I was like, there's nobody else I would ring to come and do.
Oh.
But she was like, yeah. And she came in, like, obviously, she was desperate to see Teddy,
Yeah,
but she was so focused on me and what I needed.
yeah,
She was
yeah.
like, get upstairs, let's get this sorted. And it was only on the way out, I was like, come on, like, you can come in and see him. She was like, oh, okay. But she made sure I was okay first,
And
which is what,
that's what a mum would do.
yeah.
Mm.
And that's continued, afterwards. So
Okay.
I'm
And your
lucky.
friends, yeah, they sound amazing, honestly. Like when you've
Yeah.
spoken about them before, they just, it's rare, I think. It's rare to find people that
Yeah.
can speak about it in the way that you need them to. So yeah, testament to them. With regards to just having children, is that something that you've always wanted? And did that change after your mum and dad passed away? Well, sorry, after your mum passed away.
Yeah, yeah, I have always wanted children. It's been something that's always been, what I wanted for my future. It was something that me and my mum especially would talk about, all the time. Um, I'd say there was a point, when we found out that our mum was going to die. I remember, Sherelle came over my house. I've grown up with Sherelle, so she was like the first person that I told, and I remember saying to her, I just don't see the point in anything
Mm,
now if she's not going to be here to see it. And, poor Jamie, we'd only been together for just under a year at this point, so not really long at all. Um, but I just thought, what's the point? What's the point in me getting married? What's
mm,
the point in me having children if the one person who you know wanted that just as much as I did at this point isn't going to be here
mm,
to see that. And it was something that I found really, really difficult, for a while, and still do. Like, obviously, it's awful that my mum never got to meet Teddy, and it's awful that even though my dad did meet Teddy, Teddy's not going to remember him.
yeah.
Like, he was really little.
Mm,
Um, I can remember my mum saying when they took us like into the room to give us that awful news, one of the first things that my mum said was, I'm not going to meet my grandchildren. And oh, like that's something I don't think I'll ever unhear. And
Mm.
it, when I think about it, obviously it breaks my heart. I can look at Teddy sometimes and just think, oh my gosh, if only you could have, like we were
Yeah.
saying, just 5 minutes with her, like what I would give to just hand him over to her
Mm.
for 5 minutes. So yeah, I'd say that it changed my mind for like a couple of months, a year or
Mhm.
so maybe, where it just wasn't like a top priority
Mm.
anymore. I went into work mode, and work became
Mm.
my focus.
And how did you, I mean, like, why do you think that changed? Like, was it just time or, yeah, at what point did you suddenly then think, okay, now I do want this, like, I am ready for it?
Yeah, I think it was time. Um, Jamie as well, like, it was conversations we had quite early on about having children, and it's one of the reasons why, we loved each other, we love each other, and we bonded in that way because we both would speak about having a family and what, like, silly things we do, like traditions and wanting to, like, I don't know, have Easter egg hunts in the garden. Like
Yeah.
it was all based around having a family. And I saw my friends have children then as well. Um, so Kelsey ended up pregnant a couple of months after my mum passed away. And her little boy's a year older than Teddy. So I saw her being pregnant. Obviously, Molly had her first little girl. She was pregnant again with her second. Um, and I just thought, I've got to do it. Like,
Yeah.
it's still something that I really, really want for myself. I want a child. And it just, yeah, so got engaged and had one.
And that was it,
And
yeah.
that was it.
Have a look back.
Yeah, Jamie, we're back on.
Literally. Do you think that maybe part of you then deciding that yes, you did want this, you did want to start a family was maybe almost recreating that love that your mum had for you?
Yeah, and like when I was pregnant, I'd say 90% of people were convinced it was going to be a little girl, and I was as well. My mum always used to say to me, um, that when she was younger, she'd always wish for a little girl so that she could have the same relationship with her that she had with her mum, because my mum and her mum were like best friends as well. And then obviously me and my mum were really close, so I really wanted that as well. Um, so yeah, probably it's just a different bond,
Mm,
isn't it? Completely.
mm.
Like obviously I've got an amazing bond with Teddy, and I wasn't disappointed in the
Yeah.
least when I found out I was having a little boy. Um, but I know like the mother and daughter relationship and the
Yeah.
mother and son relationship are
Mm,
very different. The
mm.
same as, my mum's relationship with me and
Yeah.
my relationship with my brother were
Mm.
completely different. So our experiences of grief are very different
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well. Like we're both grieving the same person, but we're grieving
Different.
different relationships with different dynamics. Like I don't think my brother was speaking to my mum about some of the stuff I
Yeah,
was telling him.
exactly.
So, it's
Oh.
yeah, I think it was just having that bond.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You posted something so beautiful on your page about smiling for your child, even though you feel heavy inside. Just talk to me a bit about that, and also just where do you find the strength in those days where your grief does just overwhelm you? The strength to kind of just, put on that smile for your son.
Yeah, I think it comes from knowing that I've got to. Um, yeah, like don't get me wrong, there are some days where things are really, really hard and I'm having a griefy day, I call them, where I just wake up. I'm sure you've had them and you just feel like shit and you think,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, no,
Not one
like,
of those again.
yeah, oh, here we go. And there's nothing I'd love more than to just close the blinds again, get back into bed and think, oh, no, like today's a write off. But I can't do that with Teddy. And obviously because my dad passed when he was still really young, he was even more dependent on me than what he is now. Like he couldn't walk or go and get his own drink and pick up food himself. I was responsible for, absolutely everything he did in his day. So I didn't really have time, I think, at the beginning to have the same grief experience that I had before of like, breaking down and being really upset.
Mm.
And was a part of me and still is a part of me that is afraid, I suppose, to get really upset in front
Mm.
of him,
Mm.
especially now he's like a little bit older. So
Yeah.
he picks up on my facial expressions a lot more and he like copies me, if I do a big smile at him, he'll do one back.
Yeah.
So there is obviously a part of me that's a bit afraid of, projecting my emotions onto him. Um, but it's also really hard to be upset in
Yeah.
front of him because he's just, yeah, my absolute life. He's the light of my world. Um, it's a bit, how do I, description I would give it is that obviously my mum and my dad dying completely like shattered, my heart. And there's always going to be those cracks and breaks that are there. But Teddy is like just a little plaster that I've put over them to just stop it from like completely like shattering. So if
Mm.
I'm having a bad moment, well, it doesn't even need to be a bad moment. Sometimes he's, absolutely hilarious or adorable, and I think I get a bit upset thinking, oh, what I'd give to,
Yeah.
ring my mum or ring my dad and say, you're not gonna believe what Teddy's just done. And I will allow myself to have, a little cry. Um, and there's going to come a time where, he asks me where my parents are because Jamie's parents are still with us. So I know that's going to come, and that's going to be hard conversations to have.
Mm.
Um, but they're important conversations to have as well.
Absolutely. And I think there'll just be different milestones throughout, won't there, that you'll have to
Yeah,
navigate as and when they come up. But yeah, the way you describe that is honestly so, so beautiful. And a lot of people have spoken about how having a child does it, you never get healed from grief. Of course you don't. It's always there
no,
with you, but it does, it can mend slightly your broken heart, is what I've heard. So yeah,
uh,
I absolutely love that idea. Um, what advice would you give to someone like me who is, really just fearful about becoming a mum, and just wondering if, will I be good enough? How am I going to do it without them? Yeah, just looking at kind of these milestones, weddings as well. Just yeah, just advice to people in that position.
yeah. Oh, it's a big question. I think from my own personal experience, like having that village is obviously really important. Um, and for a while, I felt like I wasn't gonna have that village. And don't get me wrong, like it's a different village, and I can't and don't rely on my friends the same way I would have, my parents with things like, childcare and, you know, I don't know, they're unwell, Daddy's unwell, and I want to fob him off on them for
Yeah.
half an hour. But I've got my village for the really, really important stuff.
Mm.
And I think I'm not always very good at asking for help.
Mm.
So having those people around you that know you
Yeah.
and are gonna be tuned into what you need is would be really, really, important for you. I've also met some really lovely people, through this community as well, like through Beyond Grief.
Mm.
I know you've had a chat with Lou
Mm.
um on here. So yeah, there's moments we've messaged each other when like one of our little ones has been unwell
Yeah.
and like she's put something up on Instagram and we give each other that little bit of a mum boost, and we're like, you've got this, like you're gonna be fine.
It's like
So
it's because it's not just like even a mum boost, it's a mum without a parent boost. Like
yeah,
it's just knowing, isn't it? That kind of added extra layer of
yeah, it's that little nod to each
yeah.
other, of like, I know this is hard, but
Yeah.
this is extra hard
Mm.
for you because you haven't got maybe that support, that typical support that
Yeah.
other people would have. Um, to be honest, I think my outlook has changed quite a lot as well, which so the advice I'd give maybe would be a bit direct
Mhm.
and not for everyone, but I don't really like the whole saying of, oh, they would want you to be happy and they would want you to get married and, all of this stuff, because that's just a bit of a given,
Mm.
really, isn't it? Like, to put it bluntly, when both of my parents were dying, they didn't say to either me or my brother, like, oh, don't you dare live your life and be happy and get married. Like, you will be sad for us forever. Like,
Yeah.
those conversations never happened. Of course, it was, live your life and be happy.
Mm.
But it doesn't make it any easier, does it?
Mm.
Like, obviously, like, I miss my mum and my dad every single day. I'm sad for them every day. I grieve them every day. But I'm like alive and I'm still here.
Mm.
And like we said earlier, like children, for example, and getting married were things that I always wanted for myself, like, and for my future. Of course, my mum and my dad wanted those things for me as well,
Mm.
but that's my life.
Yeah.
Um, so I live my life for me.
Yeah.
Again, like, of course, my parents are at the heart of absolutely
Mm.
everything I do. They're at the heart of Beyond Grief, for example. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have that page.
Yeah.
I think about them in everything that I do.
Yeah.
I get a new job, I think of them. Get married,
Mm.
think of them. But I do the things for myself because
Yeah.
I want to be happy and because I want to live my life.
Mm.
I think, you know, it's scary and
Mm.
it's hard, but it's going to be scary and hard
Mm.
regardless.
Mm.
Um, and I think I look at it as I'm either going to be 80, 90, however old, I get to, and look back on my life and think, God, I really regret not having children.
Yeah.
I really regret not getting married. And you don't get another chance. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
put it
Yeah.
bluntly, like we're all here for like a limited time, and when you've experienced two, very prominent people in your life die at what I would consider quite a young age.
Mm.
My mum was 60, my dad was 69. They still had, a
Yeah.
lot of life left to live. Um, I never want to look back and think I didn't do something.
Mm. Mm.
And that goes for the other way as well. Like, I would say, are you going to look back when you're 80 and regret not having children? And some people say no. And that's
Yeah.
absolutely great. And they
Yeah.
may have experienced the opposite, where they've never wanted children or it hasn't been something they've wanted for themselves.
Mm.
But their parents have said, oh, but come on, we want grandchildren. You have got the opposite end of it.
Yeah.
But you could say the same to them, couldn't you? Like, it's your life. You've got to do it
You.
for you. Um, yes, it's still hard.
Yeah.
Yes, I have days where I cry my eyes out because all I want to do is ring my mum and all I want to do is ring my dad. But I love Teddy to death. Like,
Mm.
and I love my life as well. Like, I've said it on a few posts on Instagram. Like, it's such a contradiction.
Mm.
But obviously, I wish things were different. Obviously, I wish my mum and my dad were still here, but they're not. I can't change that.
Yeah.
But I
Exactly.
can make sure that I've got a life that I want.
Yeah, for sure. Kath, you put it into words so beautifully. I think for me, it's like I'm in this transitional stage where it's like if I decide to get married or become a mum, am I saying goodbye to that part of myself that was
Mm.
a daughter and that younger person as well, and like moving into this new
Yeah.
chapter without her? Like I almost feel like it's unfair, and I think it's getting comfortable with that idea that no, you can have both. Like our loss defines us. It will. In the sense that like it's there. every day, but it doesn't have to like shape our entire future, is kind of what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Um, so
And
yeah,
identity is a massive part of loss as well, like what you're speaking about like, am I leaving behind
yeah,
that part of me? Like, I've had similar conversations with Jamie and like some of the girls and my brother as well, where I got really upset and thought like I'm becoming somebody that like
yeah,
they don't know. Like
yeah, yeah,
my mum didn't know me as a mum or as a wife or anything like that. And it's hard. And I
mm,
think grief is a battle. It's like this, isn't
yeah,
it? Where I suppose the what's the word? Like the summary of it is it's going to be complex no matter what. Like
yeah,
you're still going to have those battles, you're still going to have those emotions.
yeah,
But if you want things for yourself, then like you deserve those really
exactly.
nice things and you
Yeah.
deserve to have the life that
Mm.
you want. I read, do you follow A Glimpse of a Rainbow on Instagram?
So yeah.
They're quite like, they put up really lovely quotes. And there's one that I really like and fits like what we're saying. But it says, despite the massive loss of you, I'm determined to make a beautiful life for myself. Different to what I imagined, but still beautiful.
Mm.
And I think that just summarizes it like perfectly.
Yeah,
Like your life is going to look a bit different to what you wanted it to when and if you decide to have children, but it's still going to be your life and it's still going to be, you know, beautiful.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, I love
yeah.
that so much. Yeah, that's great advice. I like this direct advice. I don't think it's that direct. I think
You can
it's
sign
yeah.
up to my grief coaching.
No, yeah, I know. Everyone, check out Beyond Grief. But yeah, no, it's you really do have a way of really beautifully putting it all into
Oh,
words.
thank
So
you.
thank you. But yeah, I've absolutely loved talking to you as always. I feel like we could talk for so much longer, as always.
Oh,
But yeah, I would absolutely love to come along on one of your walks when the weather gets a lot better.
when Wales brightens up a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you
Um,
so much for chatting with
but yeah,
me.
thank you so much. And yeah, we'll chat soon.
Okay,
All
see
right,
you.
take care.
Bye.
Bye.